Hello, good morning, everyone, and I am Nelson Pana, and I will be continuing the discussion with the topic number three, literary theories. And let's start off with David Macklin Carr, rather. So he is a professor of Old Testament at the Union Theological Seminar in the New York City, and he is leading scholar of the textual formation of the Hebrew Bible. So David Macklin is the author of the literary theories that I'll be tackling later. So to start off, first is the literary criticism and the composition of the Hebrew Bible. So this is written by David Carr, and for this literary criticisms, one cannot understand the history and religion of ancient Israel and early Judaism, and if one does not grapple with the composition history of the Hebrew Bible. So we all know where it starts, where the religion starts. It really starts with the Hebrew Bible, with the Jews in the Israel. So it has been the evident since the dawn of critical research that redactors edited the Hebrew Bible, but the extent and the significance of editing has always been debated. And some scholars assume that editors constantly modified the text, the process, and it could be likened to the growth of the snowball that expands at every turn. So others assume that editing to have been a relatively limited phenomenon has not or that has no major impact on how we understand text, and almost all scholars now recognize that several variant editions of biblical texts, whether Hebrew manuscripts from Qumran or translations into Greek or Latin. So here it is with the Hebrew Bible. Yes, Hebrew Bible. It is one of the source of the understanding of history, religion, and culture of ancient Israel, as well as the regions of Judaism. Hence, it's crucial to comprehend this editorial procedure. So, since we all know the Hebrew Bible, this is where everything starts with the religion, with the history, and even our culture. And it really starts with the Israel. So, understanding this understanding this editorial process is important because the Hebrew Bible is a central source of the history, and if the Hebrew Bible was heavily edited, the limitations of using its preserved versions are apparent. So it could be a text from different periods are intermingled as later redactions are found side by side with the older text and redactions. So without distinguishing between the layers and the understanding their original context, it could be difficult to use the Hebrew Bible as a historical source for any period. So the limitations of using the Hebrew Bible is preserved copies became clear. So if it underwent extensive editing, texts from several eras are mixed together, subsequent redactors are discovered next to the older text and reductions. So it would be challenging to utilize the Hebrew Bible as historical source for any era without being able to distinguish between the layers and comprehend the original setting. So when it comes to the Hebrew Bible, we all know that, or we all wonder where does it came from. Is there a really person who came from that time to why the Hebrew Bible created, to how it was discovered, and to why there are available sources uh, on our generation. So next is according to this methodology, the later editors mainly made expansions, many which can be identified as such. So in order to identify the later additions, Scholars pay attention to various signs in the text as such contradictions, tensions, grammatical problems, disturbing repetitions, inconsistent sequence of events, divergent vocabulary, the use of later language forms in an apparently older text, and many other small markers. So that is the under the literary criticism. So these documented techniques undermine the contradict the assumptions and findings of literary critical analysis in general, and the four-source documentary hypothesis, which is the JEPD of the Pentateuch in particular. So currently several techniques that can be observed, including the addition of introductory material, harmonizing, coordination, conflation, addition of appendices, and resumptive repetition. So by approaching the issue from the perspective of documented cases of textual change, David Carr, who is the author for this one, he challenges the critical approaches that seek to reconstruct the transmission history. So, in cases where no documented evidence is available, so the book discusses examples from various parts of the Hebrew Bible and related ancient literature. Also, David Carr rather, he follows his methodological discussions with an effort to sketch out the history of Israelite literature. So he created for this one using the literary criticisms of the Hebrew Bible, and he creates a profile of each period based on more datable texts and uses that profile to determine the original context of the last datable text. So the result is a sketch of the composition from History Bible, so and also for the Israel's history from early monarchic times until the Hasmonean period, and given the broad scope of investigation as well as the complicated and largely untraceable transmissions of the Hebrew Bible, he emphasizes that the synthetic and suggestive. So it is the nature of sketch. So I think this ends my part. Thank you for listening and have a great day.